This Airsoft GITV episode is brought to you in part by G&G Armament, Condor Outdoor, and Echo One USA. How's it going, GITV? This is going to be a pretty cool episode because we get to take a rare look over Frank's shoulder as he's working on the gun. Right now he's installing the precision-engineered MK96 heat-treated Sear sets into an MK96. These Sear sets are engineered and designed right here in the United States, so that's awesome. Now this is not going to be a how-to install video, but you can learn a lot if you pay attention just by watching Frank work. So let's take a peek inside the tech office and see what Frank is up to. So Frank, the tools that are involved with a job like putting in a Sear set, any specialty tools you need, or is it pretty standard screwdrivers and stuff?
Actually, for this Sear set, all you basically need is a Phillips.
Really? Just one tool, basically?
Exactly. All the screws are Phillips heads, so they're pretty easy to work on.
Cool. But that's just for this UTG model, right? You may find different hardware if you change manufacturers or something like that? Yeah.
But I mean, so far, the two guns that this Sear set will work on is the UTG MK96 and the Well, I think it was the MB07. They basically use the same trigger box.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm laying out the Sear set side by side, the factory Sear set and the Precision Engineer heat-treated Sear set. As you can see, the factory Sears, they like to use a real cheap pot metal, and this one actually hasn't been shot too many times. It's actually our store display model, but you can already see the surface coating has been wearing out. So in the process of helping Precision Engineer make these parts, they actually found that the untreated version actually had very minimal wear. So just imagine these are actually heat treated versions, so they're a lot more resistant to wear.
There's not anything that you're going to see in an AEG.
No. Basically, a Sear set is it's basically the catch that keeps any firearm, or in this case an airsoft gun, keeps the hammer in the cocked position. Well, in a sniper rifle, you're not really going to have a true hammer, but you'll have something similar to that, where it's cocked, and when you pull the trigger, it releases, thus firing the gun.
Okay. So,
I mean, that's all this is. So, all Sear sets, when we talk about Sear sets, it's basically for any kind of spring gun or, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So why don't you just go ahead and throw that Sear set in there, and you can probably give us a visual representation of what the function of them are.
Okay, so basically now I have the parts installed. I'm going to kind of go over what the parts actually do. This part right here, the trigger sear, is the part that actually the trigger would actuate. This piece right here, that would be the piston sear. That's the part that keeps the piston in the cocked position. So basically what happens is when you pull the bolt back, the piston will slide backwards and it'll catch just like that. So just imagine that there's spring tension on this screwdriver piston. Okay, when you pull the trigger, see how it kind of actuates the trigger sear down? It actually releases the piston sear, which at that point, the piston will slide forward and the bead will shoot out of the gun.
Cool.
So that's just the basic rundown of the parts.
Pretty simple. What's up, GITV? This is just a quick reminder to always have fun when you're playing airsoft, but be safe, use common sense, and follow the law. Do not take your airsoft guns out in public, especially not to school. You don't want to be the one that gets airsoft banned for everybody, now do you?
Okay, now one last word of advice. Since these trigger boxes are made of plastic, you got to be careful when you're screwing the two pieces together not to over torque them, otherwise you're going to actually crack the trigger boxes just like this. I wouldn't really worry about this too much. I've seen plenty of guns with cracked trigger boxes like this and they all function just fine. Just make sure you don't over torque it to the point where it's going to crack it some more and cause problems.
Now, are all MK96 trigger boxes made of plastic? Except for the ones that you've come across?
Yes. Most of the ones that I've come across are made of plastic. So the Maruzen, which is the original, is made of plastic, and all the clones of it are made of plastic. So
now the trigger box doesn't really undergo stress, right? It's mostly the sears that undergo the most stress inside the trigger box.
Yes, the sears usually take the most amount of the stress from the springs. So this is basically just a shell to kind of keep the parts in place, but I don't think there's a spring out there that would basically crack this trigger box. So I don't think that's probably why Maruzen never felt the need to really make a metal version of it, or make it out of metal. Precision Engineer actually is looking into possibly making metal versions of it, but you know, that's still kind of in the works. We're going to see how these parts work out. If we start seeing failures, then you know, they're probably going to go ahead and try to figure something out for this application.
Cool.
Okay, so basically once you get your trigger box together, you're just going to basically test for function to make sure you put it back together correctly. So basically, the piston sear should be able to pull it back and it should snap forward. And if you pull the trigger, it should be able to go forward and then snap right back to the resting position. So this looks like the sear set has been installed correctly. Let's put it back into the gun and see you on the chrono range.
Thank you, Frank, for letting us pick your brain for a little bit. I hope some of you were able to learn something. Be sure to check out the heat-treated, precision-engineered MK96 sear sets. They're made right here in the USA, and they are available exclusively at Airsoft GI for $60. This is a must-have upgrade, whether you're running a stock spring in your MK96 or something with a little bit more kick. Airsoft GI TV would like to thank our sponsors, 6 Hour by Cybergun, Sistema, and Mad Bull Airsoft.